In the turbid depths of the Yangtze River Estuary, a Qing Dynasty merchant ship was discovered. It had rested there for more than a century. Confronted with such a massive and ancient wooden vessel, experts carefully considered which underwater archaeological and conservation plans to adopt. Underwater archaeology generally employs 4 methods. In situ conservation is ideal for sites with stable environments, such as the Yuan Dynasty Shipwreck. A cofferdam excavation method was successfully carried out at the Jiangkou Chenyin historic site in Sichuan province. Sectional recovery is often used for severely damaged shipwrecks, for example, the Huaguang Reef No. 1 Southern Song Dynasty shipwreck. However, these 3 approaches would still face major challenges in the Yangtze River Estuary, leaving one final option. After much evaluation, it was decided that overall salvage would best preserve the historical information held within this ancient ship. The successful salvage of the Song Dynasty shipwreck Nanhai 1 back in 2007 offered valuable experience and insight for the salvage project. However, the Yangtze River Estuary No. 2 was larger and its environment more complex.
南海一号和长江二号的实际上打捞的本质是一样的，都是整体打捞，但是这个最大的区别就在于它们的水温环境的不一样。我们大致算过，如果说我们按照原本的那种方式，南海一号方式打捞的话，那我们光清淤的时间可能要按年算。
After more than a year of comparative evaluation, a solution was found. Non-contact overall relocation of cultural relics using arched beams.
如何让各级领导和各个专家来相信我们这套方案是可行？我认为这是一个最难的事情，因为里面的创新量太大。
The pioneering scheme employed a new generation of salvage technology. Engineers first sank an end plate and the longitudinal beam down to the riverbed. A launching frame was then installed, driving 22 giant arched beams to rotate and pass beneath the wreck. This technology innovatively drew on the tunneling shield excavation techniques, resolving the difficulties of threading steel beams encountered during the Nanhai 1 project. After the ancient ship and surrounding silt were fully encapsulated, the entire structure was lifted out of the water. Could this solution, embodying Chinese ingenuity, really overcome the formidable waters of the Yangtze River Estuary? Hu Jian, diving team leader at Shanghai Salvage, also oversaw the Yangtze River Estuary No. 2 salvage project. The approaching typhoon season only added to his stress. An assistant, Wang Yu, is the first female engineer from Shanghai Salvage to participate in an offshore construction project. After more than 50 consecutive days of effort from the team, side end plates and 4 longitudinal beams were successfully completed. Standing by was the main force behind this salvage operation, the Dali. This self-propelled floating crane has a lifting capacity of up to 2,500 tons. With a boom force reaching 6,000 tons, it can achieve remarkable feats in major engineering projects, as well as emergency salvage missions.
"工程师大家都觉得很高大上。 可能就是画画图纸、坐办公室这样，但是工程师真正要做好方案，必须要到现场去，必须要有实际的经验。
However, with all preparations complete and offshore operations about to commence, a typhoon struck the region at the end of August. work was brought to a halt as all personnel remained on standby, waiting for the storm to pass. Mid-autumn astronomical high tide arrived after the typhoon, causing the optimal window for offshore operations during this minor flood season to be missed. Typhoons are frequent in Shanghai during this season, so the large construction team couldn't afford to wait any longer. On September 6, 2022, after 4 hours in transit, the Dali arrived at the ancient Shipwreck site, ready to drop anchor for positioning. Engineer Yu Xiaogang from the Tianjin Research Institute for Water Transport Engineering utilized a differential global positioning system. It was capable of monitoring the relative position between the Dali and the ancient ship in real time, with an error margin of less than 10 centimeters.
我们这边来了4个同事，我们是要24小时值班的，就跟船上驾驶员一样，24小时作业的。
The primary task during this offshore operation was to place the end plates and longitudinal beams in their designated positions, a process that took more than 7 continuous days. Yu Xiaogang and his colleagues also utilized pressure sensors and fiber optic technology to monitor the structure's underwater position and its depth in the sediment. This formed the core framework of the arched beam system. It had to be precisely positioned to ensure the smooth execution of subsequent operational stages. The Dali performed fine adjustments by altering the lengths of its anchor cables. The giant crane carefully lowered parts while ensuring that the 4 guide sleeves were aligned with the positioning piles. Technicians carefully monitored the entire process from start to finish. As the end plates neared the seabed, the chain bucket mud removal device was activated. This excavated silt and lifted it above the end plates. After being pulverized by a high-pressure water pump spray, silt was carried away by the water flow. The end plates sank naturally under their own weight. Zhuang Qianwei, Deputy Chief Engineer of the Mechanical Manufacturing Branch of Shanghai Tunnel Engineering, was responsible for the design and construction of this arched beam system. All automated equipment operations were centralized in this control room. Inside the control room, spirits were high. Monitoring data indicated that everything was proceeding smoothly, putting the project ahead of schedule.
我们预期的话，下端吧是24个小时，但是真正的施工过程中的话，其实刚开始的速度还是蛮快的。后来的话，预估是差不多5、6个小时。
With everyone welcoming the smooth progress, monitoring data began exhibiting anomalies. The structure's depth in the sediment showed increasing deviations. Its inclination angle quickly exceeded the design parameters.
王总，我这边行了，你这边看看有变化吧？
那你要摸这个装桶的这个金板，
跟他讲过了。
装那个接线，后面系统呢一个什么情况？
No one could predict the underwater conditions for certain. A diver needed to be sent down to confirm the specifics. Everyone was anxiously awaiting the arrival of slack tide.
我们这边压力其实还是蛮大的，因为首先框架结构吊起来要往4根桩上要套装，有个定位，因为这4根定位桩都是前期我们做的。
Finally, a diver could enter the water.
我那边有3个金板是贴上的啊。啊？我收到3个金板贴住了。
都把3个金板贴住了是吧？
对，12点左右。
On-site investigation revealed that the positioning piles on the north side were pressed tightly against the stiffened plates in the inner walls of the pile casings. The entire combination has shifted slightly to the south. Analysis indicated that this resulted from the two northern positioning piles slightly tilting southeast during placement. Although this deviation was within the design's tolerance, the gap between the northern positioning piles and the casings progressively narrowed as the end plates were lowered. Unable to push away the thick and sticky silt nearby, the end plates jammed. In response to this emergency, Hu Jian promptly gathered the team to discuss possible solutions.
现在我们现在初步计划是把切下来，把这个灶头里面这个东西把它切掉。
对，就是偏的这3个、4个，这2个可以
北侧2个嘛。那我再问你了，如果切完以后我放下去的时候又挤过去了，
它就不会这个方向移动了。
考虑的再充分，现场也会有一些新的问题。
结合在我们等比例试验的基础上，我们对有可能会发生的这种情况很多的预案。
掉点把留在，割缝给它割掉，我是不是割得短一点？那不是支撑也有的吗？对吧？就是留下水下留个15公分到10公分，那上面的这些把我割缝割掉了，它能掉下来就可以了。
The generous gap inside the pile casings created by the stiffened plate structure during an initial stage was put to good use. The structure was hoisted out of the water. Workers promptly cut off the stiffened plates inside the 4 pile casings to enlarge the openings. Hoping to prevent the end plates from shifting southward again, 2 sets of guide rollers were installed inside the pile casings on the south side. This forced the end plates to move northward. On the exterior of each pile casing, 3 temporary L-shaped stiffened plates were installed to ensure precise positioning. If necessary, underwater trimming could later be carried out. Intense alterations continued throughout the night. On the afternoon of September 9th, 2022, the structure was lowered for the second time. Before long, the structure had successfully been lowered to a suitable depth. However, the additional task of cutting the stiffened plates underwater still added to the divers' workload. Their already tight operation schedule was becoming even tighter.
水流对我们潜水员影响是非常大的。水流如果太快，我们是不能下水的，因为这个是下也下不去，水流冲刷你人潜不下去。然后我们要等水流慢的时候，就是我们所谓的平潮期。我们一天有4个潮水。
Every second counted. Missing slack tide would mean waiting hours more. To enhance underwater operational efficiency and ensure diver safety, Shanghai Salvage urgently dispatched the workboat to support the Dali. In doing so, the number of divers working rose to 4.
太快把这距离都摸一摸，好吧？相对位置啊，369.12、369.12嘛，都摸一摸。先摸好了以后，先割掉它。
信号绳拉紧。
信号绳拉紧。
那割刀先准备吧，我检查一下缝隙，然后如果需要的话就下了啊。
好的。
The jamming issue between the positioning piles and their casings was resolved, yet Hujian still grew increasingly worried.
知道台风已经生成了，放到3米的时候，3米4米的时候，所以说整个就是压力骤然增加了。
中央气象台监测显示，今年第12号台风梅花
The 12th powerful typhoon of 2022, Meihua, formed over the northwest Pacific Ocean on September 8th. It was expected to approach the Zhejiang coast on September 12th and continue moving northward. This meant that the Dali had to be withdrawn from the site by September 13th at the very latest. With less than 96 hours remaining, could the Dali complete its mission before the typhoon struck? Offshore operations continued around the clock. There was absolutely no time for delay. Within 1 meter of the structure's target depth, another problem emerged.
2艘的油网呢都是长的，现在看到的话，你这个201、202都不下去，203的话也没有动，这2个偏差比以前大了很多。
桩和桩头的间隙是很好的，都是有空当的。主要就是我们北侧那个端板底下的潜水员去摸了一摸，用钢钎擦了一擦，这个泥质是比较硬的，感觉就是整个端板上坐在硬石头上一样。
This sandbar at the Yangtze River Estuary is a submerged shoal notorious among local fishermen. It's also known as the Iron Plate Bar. The hardened underwater shoal was formed by the unique mix of brackish and freshwater, along with continual sediment deposits in the estuary.
链都拉不到底啊！那这2块白色的先放在水门汀上了就行。
沈科长，沈科长那边那个链斗里面摸过有泥吧？铲斗里面。那边肯定没泥的。
Sinking the end plate was facing unprecedented challenges. Hujian decided to implement a backup plan. To address situations like this, 8 sets of suction pipes were pre-installed inside each end plate. Divers carrying water sprays entered the end plate cavity to disperse sediment, helping it sink. Inevitably, the mid-autumn tide soon arrived. This made diving conditions even more challenging.
农历8月15天文大潮，整个潮水是非常快的。我们看那个潮这个快涨水或者快落水，最快的是1小时的话能涨1米，或者落的时候1小时落1米。平潮时间是非常短的，小平潮的话大概也就半个小时到45分钟之间。
我们在地下施工，其实跟环境影响不是很大。在这种江上的一个施工的话，其实就给人感觉就像是在环境中见缝插针的做事情。
布置到位了吧？
正下方。
等我通知啊，
找高点，
找最高点啊。
对。那这边好的，那边就好了。
开关交过来了。先这个最高点啊，我再取个排洪桥正下方的看看。
Their backup plan seemed to initially indicate success. The south end plate was practically settled into the desired position, but the north end plate wasn't quite there yet.
一直这个是最高的，
对啊，
下不下去。
对，1号这个点卡住了。
对，2个点是最差的。
搁这儿。
零沉没的。
零沉没很大的间隙，小度是吧？但是到那个位置还是下不去，还是下不去。
The typhoon was closing in. Time was running out.
科长，要不你先介绍一下气象情况吧，从台风的走向。
影响我们的基本上在13号晚上到14号凌晨，已经影响我们这里的这个海区。
其实总共还是有4个多平台可以用。
那后面的就是整个具体还是看我们等一会儿，现在摸的情况。
After accounting for necessary withdrawal time, less than 24 hours remained to lower the end plate.
我们预想的是两边是几乎是一起的，但是实际上是一边快还是一边慢。
我们南侧下放比较顺利，北侧下得很慢，两边就是一个是角度啊，倾斜的角度也变大了。
现在往下降，降到200多好了。
好了，放到200。
这边弄好，这边基本不动了，下30多分嘛。
To overcome this final hurdle, Hu Jian's team made a bold decision, suspending mud removal operations on the south side while unloading the lifting hook of crane number 1. They added nearly 200 tons of weight to the end plate. By harnessing the force of natural subsidence, they aimed to remove their final obstacle.
小薇，这个也快到了，6.8米嘛，基本到了嘛。对，这个已经到了，就差它了。啊，4号1米啊。
对，一个是现在是高度60。
60。
哪几号
？4号。
4号。
4号对吧
4号。
At 3 a.m. on September 12th, 2022, underwater probing finally delivered some good news. The structure was successfully positioned at the designed depth. The requirements for the launching frame installation and arched beam threading had been met.
我们整个就是作业都是在对我们非常不利的这种条件下进行的，整个就是介绍是非常紧的。
说句实话的话，就是现场的环境永远比我们想象中要复杂。
In the face of nature, the marvels of human engineering often appear insignificant. It is precisely this pressure, this race against time and struggle against the elements, that brings greater significance to each breakthrough. Successfully sinking the end plate was not only a technical triumph, but also a testament to the strength of this team in extreme conditions. After Typhoon Meihua swept through the area, the waters soon calmed once again. The next chapter of this legend was ready to be written in the depths of these waters as other questions waited to be answered.